Coming off a career-defining win over rival Fernando Vargas, Oscar De La Hoya says he's not done. He wants to continue to build on his legacy. Now De La Hoya faces a hard hitter and former champ Yuri Boy Campos. Also, WBC featherweight champ Erik Morales is out for revenge. Morales defends his title tonight against the man who defeated his brother, and Morales wants to teach Bobby Boy Velarde a lesson. Two title fights, one night, Night of Champions. Welcome to fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, where tonight Top Rank Boxing presents Night of Champions. On the card, 12 rounds of action for the WBC Mini Flyweight Championship. Jorge Arce defends against Melchor Castro. For the WBC Featherweight Championship held by Erik Morales of Tijuana, Mexico, 12 rounds against Fernando Bobby Boy Velarde. And for the WBC Super Welterweight Championship, Oscar De La Hoya of East Los Angeles, California, defends against Luis Ramon Yuri Boy Campos. You're inside the Mandalay Bay Event Center. I'm Alan Massengill. Alongside tonight will be Bernardo Osuna. And Bernardo, tonight, quite a treat for boxing fans to see these two great champions in the ring on the same card. Usually Morales is going to headline his own card. We know Oscar's going to headline his own card, but to put them in the ring at the same time, what a special treat for the boxing fan.
Most definitely. You throw in also Jorge Travieso Arce against Melchor Castro. You're talking about a unique Night of Champions that's presented tonight from the Mandalay Bay Event Center. But you know what? It didn't come off without any controversy because Morales was over the weight. He had to come in and reweigh. And even more serious was the situation that occurred with Arce here at the fabulous Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino on the Strip.
Yes, they always have great boxing action here. We're expecting this place to be filled to the rafters tonight because when Oscar De La Hoya is fighting, people come out in droves, and many viewers from around the globe will be tuning in tonight to see this fight. And we certainly appreciate all the support you give us at Top Rank, and we're glad to be able to bring you this card as well. Let's take a look at our first fight tonight on the tail of the tape between Castro and Arce. As I said, is for the WBC Mini Flyweight Championship. And, of course, Castro comes in as an aged veteran, as they say. He's been fighting, I think, Bernardo, for 130 years, I think he's been
Something
fighting.
Along the lines.
Something
he was fighting with the Toltecs back there in Campeche. But he's back now. He's 35 years old, 12 years older than Arce.
There's the weight. Now, Arce had trouble making weight. We're going to get that in a minute. You see the height advantage to Arce, and the reach advantage definitely goes to Arce against the veteran Melchor Castro. But Arce came in yesterday, the first weigh-in, as Bernardo was telling you about. He had some problems, came back later, and he's going to step on the scales. We'll tell you about it in a little bit. But 3 knockdown rule is not in effect. No standing 8 count. Cannot be saved by the bell in any round. Only the referee can stop the fight. 3 judges, 10-point system. And they'll go to the scorecards after round 4 if there's an accidental foul, which we do not want to happen. We do not want a fight to be stopped early because of a cut head, but it can happen, especially when these two guys go at it, because they'll be throwing a ton of punches all night long. And as I was talking about.
And you know what? When you talk about veteran cornermen, you're talking about Nacho Beristain, who is in Melchor Castro's corner. On the other side is his protege, you know, another man who now trains Jorge Travieso Arce and Tiburcio Garcia. And they tried to pull a fast one on Nacho at the weigh-in because he had a towel around his waist. They were trying to lift him up a little bit. He was having trouble making the weight. He was quite nervous before the weigh-in, and they made him re-weigh. He finally lost 3 pounds, and he practically passed out. He cramped up at the weigh-in ceremony, and you see them working there on his legs because he's obviously dehydrated. So they had to hydrate him immediately, and it was just a tough ordeal. Can he recover? Is 24 hours enough for him to be his usual self in the ring against a top contender?
Well, that's always the question coming in, and of course he's just 23 years old and having trouble making the weight, and 24 hours later some fighters bounce back, some do not. There's always some concern when you go into the ring, you've lost that much water weight. Can you hydrate yourself for the next day? We worry about punches to the head and whatnot. There's been some controversy in the sport about that. But Jorge Arce, if anybody can bounce back, he's young enough to do it, 23 years old, and he comes into this fight with a record of 33-3-1, 25 knockouts, so he has a lot of power. Of course, that is the question for him. Now, baby Cobb Castro has fought everybody on the planet. You know, he's a former world champion, 18-year veteran at age 35.
And you're talking about when he was champion, 1991.
That's right.
We're talking about 12 years between championship opportunities to win the WBC championship that he lost against Humberto Chiquita Gonzalez, probably one of the greatest Mexican champions at 108 pounds. I know you and I had a chance to enjoy a lot of his brutal battles at the Fabulous Forum in Los Angeles and Inglewood, and definitely he never had a chance to beat that man, and now he has a chance to win that title once again, 12 years removed. I mean, to still be in boxing 12 years later, that's an accomplishment, much less to get a chance to fight for a title.
And still be ranked #1. And it's hard to believe that Humberto Chiquita Gonzalez is already gone from the scene, long gone. He hasn't fought in years, and Michael Carbajal, of course, people that he was in the fights with. Rolando Pasqua, Jesus Chong, Juan Cordoba, all these champions that this guy had been in the ring against. And here he is coming to this fight, and he has a chance to gain a world title here in 2003. So it is quite a story. Cobb Castro's been around a long time, and people in Southern California have had a chance to see him fight, and really endeared himself to the fans because he's such a warrior. And I tell you what I expect, Bernardo, as we hear the music coming up, we see the flag coming in. I expect these guys to go in there and really go at it. As you see Cobb Castro, he looks pretty young. He looks good.
He looks good for a guy who's 35 and has had a ton of fights. But the big deal here, Arce said, this was going to be a great fight, but now it's personal. Nacho Beristain doing that to me, making me lose the weight, is going to be personal, and this man is going to be responsible for it. It's a lot of talk. To do it in the ring against a veteran, it's tough. But Arce is coming off of 5 knockouts, and this man is really in for a tough fight. If he wants to, he says he wants to retire a champion. It's about time, but he has one last mission.
Yeah, he's got to get through this one, or he has to go back to the back of the line. And when you've been doing this for 17 years, it's hard to climb back up to the line. These great old fighters who've been in all the wars get themselves ready for these opportunities. Sometimes when they're against lesser competition, they could slip up and not look so good. But you can bet that Cobb Castro, with all his experience, knows that this is his opportunity tonight, and there may not be another one. So this is going to have to be him at his best, and we'll see what he has left. Like I said, looks pretty good. We saw him yesterday at the weigh-in. Looks fit, is ready to go. He's been fighting at this weight, you know, all his life, so he's very comfortable. And here, in the cowboy hat,
the norteño music, you're going to see this man, the world champion at 108 pounds for the WBC. He is Jorge Travieso Arce. And the big question here is going to be, in 1996, at his best, Michael Carbajal was taken to the distance by Melchor Castro. Arce was knocked out by the same man when he was past his prime. So what's going to happen in the ring? Wow, we're in for a good one.
2 years separating that fight. I was in Tijuana that fight when Michael Carbajal had his last hurrah. It was quite a shock because Arce was down there in front of the hometown putting on a show in the old bull ring, by the way. I did that fight. And Arce was winning the fight, was doing everything right, but he made a mistake. And against a great veteran like Carbajal, like he was up against, the same thing to me, the comparison I'm trying to get in my head is what he's up against tonight with Cobb Castro. Because if you make a mistake against these guys, they'll put you on your butt. And it happened to him one time. Now, how much he learned from that? That was very early. That's 3 years ago, going on 4 years ago, down in Tijuana. I think he's learned from that. But look at him. He's ready to go. Mischievous, that's what his nickname translates to in English. And he certainly tries to whip up some mischief in the ring.
Well, it's definitely. He's a guy who's got a lot of charisma. He's got a lot of followers down there in Tijuana, the hometown.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening.
Michael Buffer.
And welcome to the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino of Las Vegas, where tonight, Bob Arum's Top Rank Incorporated is proud to present an evening of professional boxing for your entertainment. Brought to you in association with the undisputed king of beers, Budweiser, always proud to be your bud. And sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Chairman Dr. Luther Mack, Executive Director Mark Ratner. The three judges at ringside scoring this first contest will be Lou Filippo, Bill Graham, and Darby Shirley. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Joe Cortez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 12 rounds of boxing. This is for the WBC Mini Flyweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the gold trunks and officially weighing in at 108 pounds. His professional record, 66 victories, including 30 knockouts, against 8 defeats with 4 bouts even. From Campeche, Mexico, here is the #1 ranked WBC challenger in the world, the former 2-time world champion, Melchor Castro. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black trimmed with silver and weighing officially 107 pounds. His professional record, 33 victories, including 25 knockouts, with only 3 defeats and 1 draw. Fighting out of Los Mochis, Mexico, ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, the reigning, defending WBC Mini Flyweight Champion of the World, Jorge Travieso Arce.
Final instructions coming up from Joe Cortez.
Ok, Castro, Arce, ya le di las reglas en el camerino, quiero una pelea limpia. Cuidado con los golpes bajos, protégese en todo momento. That's what I want to remember, guys. I'm fair, but I'm firm.
Final instructions from Joe Cortez there. I expect a lot of punches here. Alan Massengill ringside with Bernardo Osuna, the fabulous boxing color analyst that we work with from time to time here on Top Rank. And I really think we're going to see a lot of action in this one. These guys only know one way to go, and that's throw punches. Now, there's some gamesmanship before they started. Travieso was over there putting it in his face a little bit with his little shadow boxing, and Castro just winked at him and smiled.
Most definitely. And you know what? Last time I was with Travieso Arce doing one of his fights, he said, I want to get a little bit of work. I want to get 5-6 rounds in. Boom, 2-round knockout. So this is a guy who's got devastating power, 5 consecutive wins before the distance. So he's a guy who really can punch, especially with the right hand. Obviously, this is a top-rated contender, a former world champion, a guy who has more than double the experience of the world champion. And when you look at it, he's got 78 fights with 30 knockouts, and in half that, in 37 fights, 25 knockouts for Arce.
Arce's got the power, he's got the quickness. Right now, he's just trying to go to the body a little bit. Castro then countering. So a warning from Joe Cortez to keep him up right there. But they'll get into it quick enough. They're kind of measuring each other right now.
And one of the greatest assets from Melchor Castro is his left-handed stance, which for many fighters takes a while to get used to. So we'll see how Travieso does with that in the first couple of rounds, and that may be the greatest opportunity for the Campeche native to dethrone the champ.
Arce's been working that right hand so far, trying to throw lead rights and work in between that southpaw style, as you said, because jabs sometimes not effective when you're going right against his jab. So you try to lead with your right hand because you got both guys throwing jabs that on the same level.
The only advantage in that point for Arce being that his right hand's the strong one. So Castro's got to, pick his poison, basically. Does he want to be boxed or does he want to be punched?
Well, he just got a pretty solid right hand that backed him up right there. Watch the head, says Joe. Castro launching a little attack here in the ropes. That's not where Arce wants to be, folks, in the ropes. He's getting punched in the stomach. Joe's going to break him up right now.
And Nacho Beristain is a great corner, man. Taking into account the amount of weight that Arce had to put off, the way he suffered to make the weight, the way he cramped up after the second weigh-in, you know he's going to tell Cobb, go to the body. You got to work the body, and that could be key for this fight.
Another warning about the clash of heads. That could be a problem. But Castro, as Bernardo was telling you, is definitely working the body, but he's got some quickness. And keep him up. Warning for low blow. Keep him up.
A little payback for what happened earlier at the beginning of the fight. Castro going a little low. Now Travieso Arce letting him know, you know what, I'm not going to be crazy about it 10 seconds later, but I'll get you back. And there it goes with 25 seconds left in the round. Oh!
Big punch right there, backs Castro up against the ropes. He's kind of gasping for air a little bit, but he's going to counter. He's dangerous when he gets hurt.
He's very dangerous. He's very cagey. He knows what he's doing in the ring. He knows what he has to do to recover when he gets hurt like he did momentarily there by Jorge Travieso Arce. So a little bit of the power that we were expecting from Arce to start the fight.
We backed him up real quick with the power. Cal Castro's over in his corner, and we'll be listening in a little bit, shaking his head. Top Rank's next telecast is Saturday, June 28th. Latin Fury live from Puerto Rico. 3 championship fights. Miguel Cotto and Rocky Martinez. Daniel Santos and Fulgencio Zuniga. And Eric Morel against Isidro Garcia. 3 championship fights. One night. Latin Fury live from Puerto Rico on Saturday, June 28th. What a great fight card that's going to be in Puerto Rico. Let's listen in now.
You got to keep doing what you're doing. You hurt him and he keeps moving back. He's just waiting for you to throw and not put your hands up in order to hit you, so you got to be careful. That's what Tiburcio Garcia, protege of Nacho Beristain, is letting him know in the corner.
Here we go, round 2 scheduled for 12. Cobb Castro's in the gold trunks with the red top. And Jorge Arce's in the black trunks as usual with the silver trim.
Something surprises me, Alan.
A little left hand over the top snuck in there from Cobb Castro. Look at him, he's getting busy here in the second round.
He knows that's what he has to do. He has to keep Arce off balance.
Oh,
there it is.
Good right hand from Cobb Castro. That was a good right hand that connected. Both punchers throwing combinations. I think Arce got tagged pretty good there.
Yep, that's what he has to do. Keep him off balance. Keep him, you know, with his back against the ropes, and that's going to be the best chance that Cobb Castro is going to have in this fight.
So after the first round, Cobb Castro decided, I got a lot of power in there. I'm going to have to go in and attack, and I think that's what he's done. He caught Arce a little bit surprised, I think. I don't think Arce was expecting those combinations to come so quickly.
The right hand started it all, and the left was the follow-up, and Cobb's strong hand is the left, so he's got to be careful with nice body shots by Jorge Travieso Arce. If he's going downstairs, Cobb Castro's going upstairs. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing in the ring, and he's not intimidated by the punching power of this man because he's been in with Manita de Piedra Carbajal. He's been in with Humberto Chiquita Gonzalez.
Nice uppercut. Good left. Arce's in trouble. He followed up an uppercut with a good left, and Arce's holding on right now.
And here is where the gut check is going to happen for Arce. Does he have anything left? Even though we're in the second round, how much was taken out? How much was he able to recover? That's the big question, and he's going to have to answer it against the #1 contender in the world, Melchor Cobb Castro, who's hungrier than anyone to win a world title.
And he has all the experience in the world. Arce is going to have to step it up a little bit and not look for just one punch or one power punch against this guy, because this guy's jumping on him quickly every time he sees an opportunity. And Cobb Castro, what he's been doing is going upstairs, downstairs, like you said, but he flashed in that uppercut and then followed up with a left hook. It was beautiful.
And the mistake that Arce is making is at this point he's fighting a world-ranked contender. He's not fighting a club fight anymore, so he can't give himself the luxury of keeping his hands down because Cobb Castro's going to eat him alive like he has in the second round.
Very big round for Cobb Castro, round 2. It must seem like forever for Arce because he's going to have to get his game plan back in order when he gets in the corner in the next 40 seconds or so.
He's going to be wishing it was a 1-minute round and a 3-minute rest period after this.
Exactly. Big round for Cobb Castro. Castro looks impressive. He looks fast, and he doesn't show any signs of his age. And as you said, he's the most motivated guy in the building probably tonight is Cobb Castro.
78 professional fights. This is his 79th, and to look that way, he's trimmed. He had no problems with the weight. He knew exactly what he needed to do to get in here, to get the opportunity, and he's trying to take advantage of it.
Final seconds, round 2. Cobb Castro slowed down a little bit in the last minute. But he set a very quick pace at the start. Arce survived that round, but he got a boxing lesson.
That's what Cobb Castro's got to do. He's got to keep making his fight. He's got to keep Arce off balance, and that's exactly what he's been able to do in the second round.
We shall see what they tell him to do.
Here's the corner.
Like I said, both fighters have excellent corners.
Taking a look at how Cobb Castro was able to maneuver those hooks, first the left hook and then the right hook to the jaw of Jorge Travieso Arce. Why? Because he doesn't lift his hands up. And there you go. If you throw the uppercut and you're not able to get your hands up defensively, you're going to get eaten alive by a fighter with the talent that Melchor Castro has, the hunger and the desire that he's showing tonight.
You can see it on his face there, Bernardo. He's very determined. But he's got, like I said, all the experience in the world. But, you know, Jorge has enough experience to handle this challenge. But as you said, it might develop into a gut check. Go to round 3. Well, Castro, as I said, in the gold trunks. The champion, Jorge Arce, in the black trunks with the silver trim.
And it's going to get to the point in this fight where Castro knows he did everything he could to come prepared for this fight, and Arce knows he didn't. For some reason, he didn't make the weight. He didn't take care of himself properly. Maybe he didn't take Castro seriously. He thought he was going to walk over this old guy, and it turns out this man is here to fight. This man is here to make his dream come true before he says goodbye to this great sport.
Yeah, nobody told Castro this was an exhibition. He came in ranked #1.
What sparring session?
Yeah, he came in ranked #1, and Arce hit the scales yesterday. I believe it was 1.5 pounds over, which really put him in a tough spot. He lost eventually 2.5 pounds and then passed out on the stage. I imagine he's been sitting in the steam room so long that he just didn't have any weight left in him. Nice combination for Castro. Look at him pour it on.
And he's able to take a shot, and I think that's frustrating Jorge Arce, because lately he's been in fights where the guys go down when he lands his shot. The right hand's deflecting off of Castro's jaw, and he's coming right back with shots of his own. So he's in for a heck of a fight tonight.
Round 3 scheduled for 12, about halfway through round 3. Castro not being dominated or intimidated by any stretch of the imagination. You can see that Arce is a slightly bigger fighter with more power from a height standpoint.
Punch right around the red strip of the trunks. From this point of view, it didn't look that low, but Castro says, you know what, I'm going to avenge it. And there he goes. He's about to go down. There it is.
4.
Joe's going to give him a count.
6, 7, 8.
The crowd didn't like it, but he got a count. So that was scored a knockdown.
There was punches, and his glove definitely touched the canvas, and he's still in trouble. So he's taking some shots from this veteran who is in here to do something tonight that he's been wanting to do for 12 years.
Castro's in command. Look at the confidence. He's flashing that jab, working all kinds of combinations. And Arce, as I said, leaving himself open for those combinations. This is a great round. Round 3's been a lot of stuff going on here.
And if you take a look at the right eye, of the left eye of Jorge Travieso Arce, it's getting a little bit inflamed because of the fact that the jab's coming in and the hook is coming in with Castro's right hand. He's starting everything with the right, and he's punching with the left and a lot of power.
You take all those years of experience, you give Castro this chance. That's a nice counter. Arce throws, and then Castro seems to step inside and fight from the inside, which is what he has to do. Final seconds, round 3, which was a great round. I don't know which factors you want to pick out of it, but obviously with the knockdown, glove touching the canvas, this is going to be another round for Castro. So I would have 2 out of 3 at least for Castro after 3 rounds, Bernardo.
Yeah, and you add that 10-8 round, so you're talking about a difference of 3 points. You're breathing hard. You're letting him come in and just hit him when he comes in. For him to go, you gotta hit him. You knocked him down, but you didn't finish him off. Give me some water. It's about being, showing your strength. He's dead, and he's got a lot of strength, and you're going back. And you're not making him put the effort forward. How am I? How am I doing? You're all right. You're all right. We're going to take a look at the knockdown, exactly how it happened, with Melchor Castro taking advantage of Arce's bad defense. You can't fight former world champion. It looked like a little slip. Actually, there was a punch.
It might have been a delay from the punch. I think he felt it a little 2 or 3 seconds later. It was hitting him, and he slipped a little bit, but yes, his glove did touch the canvas, and therefore that's what you have. Round 4 scheduled for 12. Arce coming out and applying the pressure, backing Castro into the corner, throwing a good body shot right there. It'll be interesting to see if Castro had any intentions of this fight going the distance tonight, because if he gets way up on the points, he's going to have to, we might see him change his strategy and try to win on points later on, but I don't think he has that in his game plan. I don't think he really knows about points at all.
Arce is the type of fighter that maybe he needed to be woken up like he was in that third round to finally bring it on. But Golf Castro is not intimidated. He's saying, what are you talking about? Just come on and give it to me.
Yeah, Castro wants a floor out there because he's comfortable with that. And Golf Castro is gaining confidence, up on his toes. And Arce has been throwing some hard power shots, but missing. And I was surprised that his corner didn't wake him up a little bit more to inform him that, hey, you got to get going. You're losing this fight so far. But it's a little early for that.
Maybe too many yes men in there when what they needed to do was pull a Nacho Beristain and tell him, hey, you got to get out there. Even though he knocked Arce down, Nacho was in his face saying, you know what? He's the one that's showing all the guts out there, and you just didn't go after him. So, you know, that's what they needed to do in Arce's corner, and tell him, hey, you know what? This is an old guy. You need to go after him. You can knock him out.
He just got tagged by a right hand from the old guy once again. He's been hit a lot. And we saw a little bit of swelling beginning to form on that side of his face, the left side of Arce's face. He's been more aggressive this round.
He's not a great boxer, but he's not even showing what little boxing skills he has tonight against Melchor Castro. And that's his only chance. He's got to keep his head moving because Castro is going to keep those hands coming at him.
Well, we're going to find out as this thing gets into the later rounds. We're in the fourth round now. How much that yesterday when he didn't make weight, had to lose all that weight, he's getting banged around pretty good. I got to tell you, Bernardo.
And he doesn't have all that punch behind his right hand, which is a strong punch of his career. So I mean, he's got to feel frustrated, and right now we were talking about that earlier. He's got to feel that he didn't do what he had to do to retain his title, and Castro came in at his best. And so now it comes time for gut check and to dig deep and find that punch that can finally end this fight, because he needs to do something dramatically, because as it goes longer, his conditioning is going to really be evident.
That was his best combination of the night, perhaps, right there. And that left hand from Castro snuck right over his right glove, and they just clashed heads once again. I got a feeling somebody's going to get cut before this thing's over with. The way they're fighting inside, right there, they just touched heads once again.
And it would seem to me that it's going to be Jorge Arce, because the inflammation on the left eye is just getting to be pretty severe. And if with two eyes he's having a hard time, if that eye closes up, there it is.
There's the blood pouring now. You just called it, Bernardo Osuna, and we just see it. And that's exactly what we were just talking about it, and all of a sudden the blood showed up. I was afraid that was going to happen, and it has, but we're past the fourth round. Now he's in deep trouble.
Just 1 minute ago, Oscar De La Hoya was arriving here at the Mandalay Bay Event Center for the Night of Champions, your main eventer against Yori Boy Campas. And you should be watching this fight, Alan, because he's fighting an old wily veteran. And even though few people give him a chance, if you look at Melchor Castro, who's trying to, you know, make history, basically, that's exactly what Oscar De La Hoya is going to face tonight.
He's going to face a hard puncher, and Arce doesn't even, there's more shots of Oscar coming into the Mandalay Bay Event Center. He says he takes no one lightly, but he has in his past, he has gone into fights that he admitted not totally prepared, hard to get motivated, but he's looking for the big payday down in September against Sugar Shane Mosley. Here we go.
Neither of these guys could come into the fight looking ahead, because they both knew they were in for a great battle, especially Melchor Castro, who was looking to make history, and Arce may have taken him too lightly, and he's really paying the price.
Arce looks like he's struggling a little bit here in round 5. He comes out, he's got the Vaseline over the eye when they tended to the cut. We'll see if Castro can take advantage of that cut. As I said, if they stopped it like in this round, I believe Castro would pull off the upset.
I'm down by 3 points, the world champion at this point. And you know what? He was close to losing the title on the scale yesterday, and he may have lost it either way on the scale, because he just took too much out of himself. It's not over yet, but the way it's looking right now, if he couldn't land those crisp punches in the first 4 rounds, it's going to be tough. And here we go. The doctor's going to take a look, and maybe Allen just called something else too. The end of the fight.
I said maybe in this round. It's pouring out of there.
Okay. Is that one up there?
It's okay.
What's the second one?
We'll let it go for a little bit.
Okay.
2 cuts, one right over the eye, and one right above the eye socket. So,
and then he just got tagged again by Castro, and he's trying to pick up the pace a little bit. You know, Arce's in a world of hurt right now, Bernardo. He's got blood pouring down his face. He had to lose all that weight yesterday, and this veteran is picking him apart.
And he's even worse off because he doesn't have that reserve tank to go to at this point where he can't come off and throw those punches that he needs to throw, because if they already warned him it's going to go a little longer, he's got to come out punching, and the guy who's coming out punching is Melchor Castro.
Exactly right, and Arce's trying to press the issue now because he knows he's not long for this fight if his cuts continue to open up. You know, this is the kind of war that was tailor-made for Melchor Castro. This is exactly what he needed to win a title. And he caught an opponent that, I got to tell you, in all the fights I've seen from Arce, it's probably it right here. In all the fights I've seen, he just didn't look sharp tonight. And now he's...
He's going to let him finish this round.
Well, this is the whole fight. This is the whole fight, folks, and Arce knows it. He knows he's got to do something dramatic. Here we go.
Basically, and it happened to Humberto Gonzalez against Amancio Yaturon when he was put into retirement. They told him this is it, and he risked it. Now Melchor Castro has to box him. There's no reason for him to be taking that kind of punches, those kinds of punches in the middle of the ring when you know you've already knocked him down and you've taken the fight to him.
Well, I think they're going to look at that cut after this round, and we may have a stoppage, folks, after round 5 scheduled for 12, and we may have a new champion who isn't really an old champion.
A new old champion.
New old champion. Nice punches inside. Look at Castro trying to finish it up in style. Low blow is what Arce's claiming.
He's trying to make the refereeing decisions in there, but Castro will have none of that. He'll say, I make my own decisions. I'm going to go after you. And there, he knocks him with a nice left hook, and he's just stopping him in his tracks. And the best thing that maybe could happen to Arce is that they stop the fight now and he prepare for a rematch, because he's not all there tonight, and we've got to say that.
Oh, that's a good combination right on the ropes at the final 10-second mark. Arce's best combination. I see blood coming out of the ear of Castro, but I don't know if that's the blood from Arce.
Probably the rubbing of his left eye with Castro's ear. Now we're going to have to go to the corner where Margaret Goodman, I think, is going to be very close to stopping the fight. You're winning the fight is what they're telling him.
That's terrible.
And it's two cuts that are about the same size. He's just throwing the straight right and the left hook. He wants some water. And they're telling him, you're winning the fight. And I think they need to tell him the truth, that he needs to go out and win the fight. You're giving yourself up. You're going in too forward. We're going to look a little bit of the action. There's the headbutt. Arce is the one who's complaining. And he's missing, and Arce is receiving the punches of Melchor Castro.
Well, they're going to let it go. Dr. Margaret Goodman looked in and then had a little conversation with Joe Cortez, but that is a very deep cut, and there's 2 of them there, and one on top is even worse than the one below it. And knowing the veteran Castro that he will be looking to take advantage of this situation. Not even halfway done with the scheduled 12, and the world champion has got to rally. He's trying to force the issue, but he keeps missing. He doesn't really set up that right hand, Leonardo, with anything. He keeps missing by a foot with the right hand because Castro sees it coming. But I tell you what, if you watched Castro 12 years ago and watched him tonight, he's the same guy. Yep. Got himself in a position here for a world championship and came in ready. Now, Arce's trying to land a big punch and backing off. That's probably the best he's looked at controlling this fight. So he's settled down a little bit from the effects of the cuts and trying to take advantage here. But you said his corner was telling him he was winning the fight. I'm not so sure about that.
I think, and that's part of the mistake that they're making, because they're setting the tone for a calm fight that can be stopped at any minute, when what he needs is urgency. He needs to go out there, and if he can't knock him out, at least score a knockdown to put himself into this fight again. He's got a 10-8 round against them, and most of the rounds in between also. So, I mean, they're making a mistake, and he's getting
tagged again with that right hand. Castro's been very effective with that right hand. And Castro now is moving around the ring a little bit more, and looking for his shots and looking for opportunities. And we haven't seen, well, the blood's beginning to come a little bit more now in round 6.
As Castro can land the right, that's when the blood's going to keep coming
Arce's, he's got hamburger over that eye right now. It's just a bloody mess. And I think it's affecting Arce greatly, because he's got a one-eyed fighter out there right now. He just got a little combination to the head. Now Arce says, bring it on. So I guess Castro will oblige him.
It's not like he's asking for something that he hasn't been getting for the first 6 rounds of action, so.
Here we go.
There's
what he wanted. Most of those punches landing on the gloves or the elbows of the challenger, Cobb Castro, who's in the gold trunks, in case you're just now joining us.
Nice uppercut.
The champion has been bloodied in this fight. 2 cuts over the eye. Arce just hasn't been crisp like he usually is.
And it's got to do with the weight. I mean, he didn't lose the title on the scale, but he may have either way because he's just not himself. He's not. Those 24 hours were obviously not enough for him to recover completely because he had enough trouble making the 109. Ooh. So much less to get back down to 107.
That was a solid left hook right over the top by the lefty. Melchor Cobb Castro trying to turn back the hands of time tonight and do something nobody thought he was going to do. Get another world championship at age 35. But Arce's still in there. They've let him continue despite all the bleeding. That's the end of round 6. This has been what we expected. And as I said, it turned out to be Cobb Castro's kind of fight. We'll listen in.
They'd go to the cards because of the headbutts. If you don't want to understand that, that's your problem. I'm trying to explain it to you. You combine them and then you let them come in. Then you get in close and you let them do something. You don't have any business there. It's dangerous, but it's bigger. It would be my points. The fight is over. They're going to go to the scorecards.
That's it. This will be interesting. After 6 rounds, you see the cut. That is a gaping Grand Canyon cut. Both of them are getting worse and worse. You could fly a helicopter through that cut there, Bernardo.
You talk about
oh my
the
God.
Grand Canyon, and that's 2 rivers converging on one eye, and it's just not pretty to see. I'm surprised that Margaret Goodman let it go this far because she could have really stopped it after the 4th or 5th round. She gave him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he did enough to retain his title tonight.
We'll see. I may have had him a better round that last round. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they ruled this thing a draw, but that 10-8 round with that slippage or the punch that he went down and touched his glove to the canvas is going to be the most important part of what we're going to see. But I'm really shocked that Arce came into this fight knowing what kind of fight Cobb Castro had to fight to beat him, let it turn into a headbutt, bloody war, wasn't crisp with his punches, and you get cut when that happens when you're facing a southpaw, because when he was missing badly, and there goes the clash of heads, and now he's got a problem.
But you're talking about a guy who maybe isn't all there in the ring. He's not physically there, and if you're not physically there, sometimes mentally that throws you off of your game. You can't do what you want to do inside the rings if your legs don't respond, if your punches don't respond.
Here's the decision.
Has been called to a halt. The champion, Jorge Arce, suffered a severe wound to the eyebrow. It was caused by an accidental headbutt. Under the rules, we go to the scorecards of the 6 rounds that have been completed for a technical decision. The scores are as follows. Bill Graham scores the contest 59-55. Dalby Shirley has it 58-56. And Lou Filippo scores it 59-55. All for the winner by unanimous decision. And still, the WBC Mini Flyweight World Champion, Jorge Travieso Arce.
Anything can happen in Vegas. I had it 58-55 in favor of Melchor Cobb Castro, so I am extremely surprised. The people here are not at all happy either.
No, they're booing him right now. I guess we'll get some reaction. Cobb Castro, I'm telling you, he's got to be just devastated, because I guess he felt like he needed to go out and get a knockout and have it stop like this. He might have had a chance to knock Arce down as bad as he was looking. So he got, not only did he get, in our opinion, what is a strange decision, but he did get a chance to fight his entire fight, and he was ready. Here's some more of the action. I mean, I don't know. It makes you feel like you haven't seen many boxing events, and I've been watching them for 17 years.
I feel the same way. I mean, I don't know what the judges were saying, but I know that the fans aren't happy. I know that I'm not too satisfied with what the judges' scorecards come out. And you look at it, and we're going to Larry Merchant with the interview with Arce.
Saliste sobrepesado con varias libras.
Oh, no quise decir nada. Tuve una enfermedad antes de la pelea y me dieron muchos líquidos y me subí.
Yeah. I didn't want to say anything, but I was sick before the fight, and I drank a lot of liquids. That's why I was overweight.
And when you cramped up, what was the feeling? Did you feel you were going to be able to make it to the fight?
Y cuando te dio esos calambres que te dio ¿sentiste que podías todavía seguir con la pelea?
Sí, así es. Yo soy un guerrero del ring y yo nunca me rindo. Y todo el tiempo voy a estar pendiente a la pelea.
Yeah, I knew I was going to go into the fight. I'm a warrior, and I never give up, and I knew I was going to be in the fight.
Did you feel the effects of your sickness or having to take off so much weight and put on so much weight since that time? And did they feed you intravenously?
Yeah. ¿Sentiste todos los efectos de haber tenido que perder tanto peso y entonces luego poner el peso? ¿Te dieron alguna comida en las venas?
No, me recuperé bien a pura comida natural. Me sentí un poco débil, pero yo soy muy fuerte de físico y yo sabía que me iba a recuperar.
No, I was fine. I'm a very strong person, and I knew I was going to recuperate.
Soy un profesional y soy un campeón del mundo.
I'm a professional, and I'm a world champion.
Do you feel you're going to have to move up to be a full flyweight?
¿Sientes tú que tienes que moverte a las 112 para hacer un peso mosca completo?
Lo voy a meditar, voy a hablarlo con mi equipo de trabajo a ver si es necesario irme.
We're going to discuss it with my team, and I think we probably will, but we need to discuss it.
Thank you very much. Congratulations again, Jorge.
Thank you.
Jim?
Well, there you have it. Arce says he's a champion, but he looked like a beaten man tonight from the looks of his face and the fact that he had physical problems, and you're all over it because, you know, you said he didn't look right and he wasn't ready for this fight, but he says he was sick coming in, and he said he was strong enough to survive it, and he's darn lucky, in my opinion, to have survived it, Bernardo.
It's one thing to say, you know what, I'm a warrior, I'm a champion, and I remain a champion, but it's another thing to take a look back and see what happened tonight and say that a lot of luck and maybe some myopic judges really had something to do with it, because